Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle from A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. We've been doing this for a while now, but if you're new to the game or maybe you forgot about us, this is the series where we talk about things that are steamy, right? This is the show where we talk real talk about things in education, employment, physical health, mental health, anything that is considered steamy. We are still a tutoring company, so we can't talk about everything, right? Just only things in our purview. And today is a special day because this is a chance for us to talk about using the things that we learned in school to influence our career choices. So today's topic is, I'm going to get up my little banner, a career in writing. A career in writing. That is our topic for today. And I have a guest who is going to help me out with that. And her name is Claudine Land, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So who is Claudine Land? Let me put up my little banner over here. Who is Claudine Land? And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about her. So Claudine Land is the founder of Virtual Ingenuity LLC. She's always wanted to make a positive impact in business. In fact, she's been told most of her life that she has the incredible ability to recognize and decipher the professional needs of people around her. She also realized early on that she has a gift for providing effective strategies and sound objectives, in addition to offering awe-inspiring advice for accomplishing the most advantageous of goals. So, in 2017, she decided to make that impact. She transitioned from her traditional role in marketing, pharma, and prescription monitoring to establish a full-time remote business management support and business strategy company. Since doing so, she has helped numerous businesses and entrepreneurs all over the country. Her clients are very important to her. That's the reason she intentionally incorporates customized plans, workflow systems, and innovative solutions for their success. Her dedication rests solely in building genuine results-driven strategies and optimized strategic planning to boost productivity and growth. You see, she strongly believes that making an impact, one business at a time, will make the world better. What makes Virtual Ingenuity LLC different than other consulting businesses? Impacting together. Building genuine, lasting relationships, working together, and having a diverse skill set is very important to her. You see, her background spans over 16 years of writing for major companies throughout the US. She can literally sit all day writing content for a podcast, proposal, or commercial. Writing is in her blood. It's her sweet spot. That may stem from her familial education in addition to her Jamaican and British background. All right, so fellow West Indian, being raised on the British education system can be stringent. Additional experience in everything from sales and marketing to recruiting and management gave her a wide variety of skills that allow her to adapt quickly to new opportunities. On a personal note, she is a wife, sister, mother, daughter, and friend to many. She enjoys her never a dull moment, crazy family life, and credited to teaching the skills to remain calm when life throws a meteor out of the sky. She lives in a nice, quiet area in the suburbs. Well, she doesn't know how much longer it will be that way. She will have 2 teenagers in her household in just a couple years. Life moves fast, and so does virtual ingenuity. So without further ado, let me bring her to the stage. Please welcome to the program, Claudine Lands. Claudine, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Gabrielle. How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. So I am definitely looking forward to this conversation. So today we're going to talk about a career in writing, how you took your love for writing and implemented it into your business goals and your business, obviously. And you have an interesting perspective on that. So I definitely want to get you started. So I'm going to pass the baton to you and please share.
Well, first of all, Gabrielle, I do want to thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. I really do appreciate it. This is an honor to be here, and I'm a fan of One Step Ahead Tutoring Services. You all have done a fantastic job tutoring the kids, and I kudos to you all. Thank you for that. Just want to say, for those who are interested in a career in writing, go for it. There are several things that you can do to get started. Be positive, and it's really important to nurture your gift. At Virtual Ingenuity LLC, we are a business support organization focused on helping clients across the United States to hone in and focus on what they do best. And it's so important to only really focus on what you do best. It's great to outsource or delegate everything else to others. But if you have a gift for writing, by all means, focus on that. Move forward with it. Contact as many people that you can to assist you with that gift, and do what it takes to get your writing skills up to par. And one of the things that when I work with my clients, they always ask me, Claudine, how do you write for other people? Because everyone's writing style is so very different. And I think that's just one of the things that I've been able to do for well over 16 years now, is just hone in on and focus on what each person's writing style is. And it's really important in business to listen to your clients, listen to folks that are around you, and find out what they are really good at. So I have to, with Virtual Ingenuity LLC, is I have to decipher each person's style of writing. And I write a lot of blogs and content, whether it's website development content, whether it's helping to edit their books or manuscripts, whatever it may be, whatever content it may be. I have to get into that person's head and decipher, okay, figure out what is that person's writing style, and then just write as if I am that person. So that's really important to focus on, is finding out what your writing style is and being good at that. Thank you, Gabrielle. That's for that introduction, by the way.
No problem, no problem. All right, so let's get right into it. So let's talk about now. You're a grant writer. So talk about that process. How did you get into that?
Well, grant writing, that's a really fun story. Years ago, and I've shied away a little bit now from writing grants, but I do more content writing and more editing and writing content for folks that are interested in starting a website or already have a website and they just need their content editing. But I got started into grant writing for many, many years. I worked at a medical university right out of college, and I was actually a research assistant. And had a physician. I was assistant coordinator for a study, a diabetes study, and this principal investigator, who was a physician at the time, asked me to review a grant that he was thinking about getting funded. He had written the grant. I literally took that grant. I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. I took the grant and looked it over, and a couple of days later, just tore up the grant, just edited it so much and handed it back to him several days later. And I said, well, hey, this is what I thought of the idea. I just made a few changes, which really was a few changes, was quite a bit, just really almost rewrote the entire grant, handed it back to him. And needless to say, he was more than impressed with it, and ended up, I wrote myself into that grant, because I said, if he's trying to get this grant funded, then I want to be a part of it, because it was a really great health initiative for folks with families with diabetes and trying to find out the gene that caused diabetes. So I turned it into him, and then he was blown away, pleasantly blown away with it, and submitted it as is, as I had edited it. And the grant got funded. And so, Gabrielle, that solidified my position for the next several years with that medical university, because the grant was funded. And so after that, after working that grant funded position for several years, word started to get around in the medical university. And then I started receiving just other physicians asking me, hey, can you look this over? Can you work on my study? And a physician called me from another state, another medical university in another state. And I ended up, after I completed that grant at the local medical university where I was working, went to work in another state with that physician. And actually, let me back up a little bit before that. As I completed the initial grant that I had written, I was actually asked by that medical university to be a part of the Centers for Outcomes Research and Effectiveness there. And so I worked for several years there, just writing grants all day, literally chasing physicians before surgery, the operating room, to get the necessary information to writing grants. And it was at that time that I really, really, really realized what my true gift was in writing, and how effective I was in writing. I had 7 physicians. So I wrote grants for all 7 physicians, chasing them all over the hospital, getting the necessary information from them. And needless to say, the grants got funded. And then I received a call from another physician at another medical university. And so I worked there in writing grants as well. And then folks started hearing about what I had done in the community and my gift for writing grants. And so I started a grant writing business. And folks in the community, I helped small businesses, and then I helped other medical universities to write grants. So that's just a true testament of honing in on what I did best and what I do best, and taking that to the next level. And that solidified my career for years to come.
Fabulous, fabulous. So you just said you're not doing much grant writing anymore. Now you're writing content and blogs. So can you talk about that transition?
So the transition from writing grants to writing content is a complete difference. Grants, especially in the healthcare industry, is really focused. So you have to pay attention to the fine details. Grants are very specific in how you write grants. So now writing content just is not as intense, I think, for lack of a better word, because you're not following a script, a guide. You're not following a guide from that funding source of what information needs to be there. When I write content for my clients, I am focusing on what their writing style is. And so it's a different kind of focus. So now, Gabrielle, what I do with my clients is I have to figure out what that writing style is. How is my client speaking to me? A lot of times people will write how they speak, and it could be good and bad. So I just have to really listen closely to find out how a client is speaking to me and find out what's important to them. If it's a blog, well, what are they trying to portray in that blog? What are they trying to highlight? And when I have my discovery calls with my clients, a lot of times they're not sure really what they want to write about. And so I have to listen, and we sit down and we go over their long-term goals. What do you want to accomplish in a year? What do you want to accomplish in 3 months? And then I take those 3 months goal and say, okay, well, let's sit down and write your blog topics, maybe a month's worth of blog topics. What's more important to you? What topics are more important to you? What topics are trending? So I'll research and find out what those topics are in their field that are trending. And then whatever that topic is, we'll sit down and write posts for a month. And so really that's how it gets started, is just getting into my client's head and figuring out what's important to them, looking at the bigger picture first, and then narrowing it down to about 3 months, what their goals are in 3 months, and then narrowing it down to, okay, in the next 30 days, what do you want to accomplish? And going from there.
All right, awesome. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Well, obviously, when you write for other people, you want to capture their personality, right? You're not writing as if, you're not using your, how I phrase it, you're not inserting your personality, your traits, you're trying to capture those of the clients. So what techniques do you implement to make that happen?
Gabrielle, that's a great question. So the techniques that I use, without giving too much away, is listening. As simple as it is, it's just really listening to the cadence in someone's voice, to just what they emphasize, what is important to them in their short-term goal for that blog. What is the idea that my client wants to relay to a first-time visitor to that website or to that manuscript or to that book? What is the idea that my client wants a first-time visitor to take away? So what's the takeaway from it? And then moving from there.
All right, awesome. So why do people turn to content writers? Why not just write it themselves? Can you go into that a little bit?
Gabrielle, another great question. So, we have several types of people. There are people that really don't know that they need a content writer. There are folks that don't know what a content writer is. So let me shed some light on that for everyone out there that's not aware of what a content writer is. So a content writer is someone that focuses on how the client, what the client's needs are, how the client tells a story is so important. So with all of my writing, I have to tell my client's story in the client's words or from the client's point of view. So that's really the main goal for me when I write for my clients, is I need to tell their story. I need to listen very closely to what their story is, and I need to portray that on paper. And you for me, I don't get a second chance. I mean, it's either going to be, if it's a book, it's going to be a bestseller or it's not, so I listen in very closely to what my clients' needs are and what they really want to portray and get that on paper.
Mm. Okay, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so let's bring it back to the younger years, right? So obviously this love came from somewhere. So usually when I talk to other guests and they have a love of something, it's usually comes down to a special teacher, a favorite teacher. So your love of writing, did you just have it all the time, or was there a special teacher that inspired you?
So my love with writing, I really believe came from my mother. She was a department chair and taught at a or several universities. And I honestly believe that just reading, growing up on the British system in Jamaica, we read a lot. The school system there is a lot different to me than in the United States, where the focus really abroad is on, or in Jamaica rather, on the British system is really on education and reading. And I grew up reading a lot, day in, day out. My daughter to this day and my son really, they read a lot and they enjoy it. And it's just, I mentioned before, telling a story and just being part of the story was just amazing to me. I could travel through many different places just by reading a book. I learned so much before I moved to the United States, about the United States, about different places in the States, just from reading. So in our household, it was all about reading and writing and focusing on those things. Speaking properly, just being educated and asking a lot of questions. My clients will tell you that Claudine asks a lot of questions because I need to find out truly what your goals are, what motivates you, what is your story. I talk to a lot of people on a day-to-day basis because everybody has a story and everybody loves to tell their story. So I just tune in on finding what your story is. Everybody loves a good story.
That they do. That they do. So what about school? What was school like for you?
So I had two separate, experiences with school, one being abroad and then one being here in the States. Abroad, I think schooling was a lot. To me, it was pretty easy abroad in Jamaica and on that British system. To me, it was easy. Then, I came to the United States later on and went to high school and college here and never had a problem. English was so easy for me. I could not understand why folks struggled with writing. The focus abroad is just more focused on speaking and writing in English. And here in the United States, I actually progressed so much faster and was actually bored in school because it was just easy. For a couple of years, I was ahead for a couple of years just because of my initial training in schooling and writing. So when I came to the States, I helped a lot of my friends out with writing because they just had difficulty with that, difficulty expressing themselves on paper and difficulty with grammar. So that was my experience.
So it sounds like you were You were editing your friends' papers at a young age.
I really was. And I had fun doing it. I loved reading everyone's story. And oftentimes with my clients, I speak to them and they say, Claudine, how can you tell what I really need? And when I say back to them, okay, this is what I'm hearing from you, and this is what you're telling me, then they say, well, yeah, how did you know that? It's a lot of deciphering what my clients' needs are is reading between the lines too. Initially, when I meet with a client in my discovery call, it's usually, I need this, I need editing services. Okay, well, let's have a discovery call. Let's talk about it. Turns out they may need more than that. They really need direction in their writing. Their writing may be just all over the place. And let's focus in on really what you're wanting your readers to know about you, to know about your writing. And so that's what I do is I listen to my client's story and focus on what their goal is for the reader when they're reading that content.
You brought up earlier a connection between reading and writing. If you could talk about that a little bit more.
For most people, there's a strong connection really with reading. Most people tend to write what they how they speak, and that's not necessarily a good thing. But the more you read, you can really create your writing style, and you the more you read, you can really figure out and be informed of the different writing styles that are out there. And I think that's why a lot of my clients hire me, is because they read a lot of these different genres of literature or of just books, and they haven't yet found what's really right for them. How should they get their story on paper? And so reading can really expose someone to different genres and to different writing styles. And I listen in on what my clients tell me and how they phrase things. And it's just a delicate art that we just have to, it has to be mastered. And for me, it's a natural. And I just let them know, okay, well, I think this is more of your writing style. Read this and let me know what you think. Does this sound like what you are trying to portray? And I nail it each and every time.
All right, awesome. And just one point I wanted to share with when you read a lot of different books and literature, you are noticing the grammar, you're noticing the spelling, the the punctuation. So when it comes to doing a lot of reading, you're noticing all these different things about the way the words are layered on the page, that you are applying those skills to writing in general. So there's it's modeling in a way. So you are taking what someone else wrote and you're implementing those skills into your own writing. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's false?
I agree with you. That's exactly right. It takes a lot of listening, a lot of deciphering, a lot of digging, almost like an investigator to figure out what my client's writing style is. And what I will do a lot of times is I will even ask several questions and say, okay, here are my questions for you. I'm giving you homework. I need you to come back and write the answers to these questions for me. And I just pay attention to how they write their answers, how they formulate their answers, and what's in front of me and what I'm reading. And that tells me a lot about a person.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so let's jump right into business. So obviously you took your love for writing and you turned it into a business, right? So why not just so what made you get into business? We'll start there.
So I was for many years in the healthcare industry and traveling from state to state. I was traveling between 4 different states at the time. And I, had my babies and had my first child, had my son, and my company made provisions for me to work from home. They really didn't want to lose me. And so they said, yeah, you don't have to, you can stop traveling for a year or, a year and a half. And I really rolled more into the training side. And so they made provisions for me to work from home. And so I said, I really want to be a mom. I love what I do. I love traveling, but now it's time to shift gears. And I did not want my children to miss out on the world, on their reading. I wanted to be there to nurture them and nurture their make them love reading too. I read a lot to them in the womb, and even before they could talk and express themselves, and just kept doing that. It was just from my background that education was just in reading and writing was so important. So I stayed at home for a year, and I said, I feel as though I'm not dedicating enough time to my children. I'm sure I was, but for me, I really just wanted to be a mom. And so I took 10 years off and had 2 children and stayed at home and just nurtured them, and then got back into the working world. And my kids were just old enough now, and they didn't need me as much, I felt. And, doing all the PTO things, I started backing away from that and serving on these committees, and said, okay, it's now time again for me, for mommy. So I said, I would like to have a business that enables me the flexibility that when my kids have these assemblies at school or school related events, that I can go and be there for them. And because they're so used to seeing me, and I didn't want to miss out on any stage of their life. They're growing up. So my husband said to me, he says, Claudine, why don't you become a business strategist? Why don't you work remotely? So you've always been good at deciphering people's needs and helping them to articulate really what their goals are, and helping them with that. And so I said, that's a great idea. I started just writing down my personal goals and what I love to do. Of course, writing has always been number one for me. And talking with people, I love to talk to people. Like I said, everyone has a story. And I know that I still wanted to help entrepreneurs and guide businesses to be more productive and to boost their productivity and growth. And I knew that I wanted to work with clients across time zones. I did not want to be limited to the state in which I was living. And so my focus, I said, is to just build a genuine results-driven strategy for businesses and for their success. And so one of the companies that I researched was Apple. because not a lot of people at the time knew that Apple had remote employees most of the time. And so I would call Apple and talk to their employees and say, "Are you working remotely?" And they would say, "Yeah, but you're really not supposed to know that." So I just kind of did my research on companies that were remote and just really went from there and said, "Gosh, if Apple can do it, I certainly can do it, and I will do it." And so my first client was actually my one of my managers for a prescription monitoring company that I worked for. He saw my profile on LinkedIn, called me and said, "Hey, Claudine, what are you doing? What do you mean you're a business strategist? What is this? Tell me a little bit about yourself." And so I told him, that I'm a business support organization and I really love to help businesses to improve their efficiency on a day-to-day basis. A lot of business owners, Gabrielle, know the long-term goal, that they want to have a successful business. And so I talk to my clients and they say, "Claudine, can you help me? I know what I want to do, but I'm not really sure how to go about doing it." So I started out helping businesses. I would set them up with their, if they needed 501c3 or if they were an LLC, just whatever business entity they aim to do. That's what I help them to set that up from scratch, and then help them get their goals together, their mission statement, and of course, writing their mission statement and helping them with their business plan, writing that for them, listening very closely to their needs and what they wanted, and writing that for them, and customizing workflow systems that would help them, to set reminders or anything that's going to, like a CRM, introduce them to the right CRM for them, do the background research for them on that, and just put together content for them, and just systems that would, project management systems that would help them on a day-to-day basis. And so that's how it started.
Wow. So it's funny how that was full circle for you, that you were looking for something remote, to support your children, and you just decided you did your research, right? You didn't just jump in. So you did your research and then you decided to take that big leap. And then your first client, lo and behold, was a manager from an earlier position.
Yes. And doing your research is so important. And, get started. A lot of people too, Gabrielle, really are fearful of getting started. They have an idea. Everything starts with an idea. But, like I did with Apple, I said to myself, if Apple can do it, I'm certainly going to do it. And that's what I did. And so now I'm helping clients all across the United States, and I love doing it. It's a lot of satisfaction for me to see my clients excel in something that they were so uncertain of in the beginning. And I also, help my clients to write content that they need, and to see their SEO increase due to the content that's on their website is just an amazing experience.
So how does that feel, knowing that what you wrote for them is on their websites and it's influencing their business and their success? How does it feel knowing that your words are impacting the success of others?
It's great. It's really satisfying, because my clients are happy and I'm happy with the result. And, they will tell others of hey, this is what Virtual Ingenuity LLC did for me. And they get a lot of response like, gosh, that article was awesome. Where did you get that information? How did you go about writing that article? And Virtual Ingenuity helped me. Hey, they can help you. So it's really great. And my main concern is just really making sure that my clients are indeed hitting their goals and increasing their productivity and maximizing their profits.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we are starting to wind down. So do you have any final advice for the people watching right now? People that want to take their writing gifts and turn it into a business, or people that are struggling with writing, or anything, any advice that you want to give right now?
I do, yes. So if you love writing, continue to do it. Ask a lot of questions to folks, find out who can help you. Never be afraid to ask questions. I tell that to my clients all the time. Ask questions. Find out what's available. Find out what sources are there so that you can, number one, get the help that you need to be a better writer. Never be complacent, because that's when you can fall into this hole of never getting out. Is just, oh, I'm happy with my writing. No, never be happy with that. Always aim to be better at writing. Find out different writing styles. Push yourself to write in a different genre, in a different, different style. Gosh, do your research on what's out there, what writing platforms are out there for you. If you want to write publications, is that what you want to do? Write publications? Do you want to write blogs? Do you want to help folks to write content for websites? Is there a focus, area that you'd like to write? Is it healthcare? Is it about, is it social media writing? Is it literature? What writing style are you interested in? And share your writing with other folks. Let them read it, and professionals too at that. And be open to taking critique. It's very, very important. And take critique from a professional. And really, don't be embarrassed by in learning. Just be open, keep an open mind, and push forward, move forward, because writing is so important in today's society. And we are doing a lot of things virtual, because of COVID. And we are even writing a simple email is important. Emails can be deciphered very differently, different tones to writing. So it's really important in knowing how to write effectively and get your point across.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm going to put up your little banner here. All right, you guys, if you want to learn more about Virtual Ingenuity LLC, if you are interested in her content writing services, there's nothing wrong with maybe having a second look, or if you are self-aware that you're not a good writer, you have issues, I won't say issues, difficulties getting your message across, there's nothing wrong with asking for some assistance. So if you are looking for something like that, you can find Claudine. Her contact info is scrolling below. So we have her website. She is also on Facebook and LinkedIn. And she also is on Google Maps. So if you want to know where she is. But you're not taking in-person clients, right? Just virtual?
Yes, virtual.
Right.
I am in Alabama, which doesn't limit me at all. Thank goodness for technology, and we can do things virtually. We usually communicate via Zoom or whatever platform is good. So it does not matter where you are at all. Don't let that limit you.
Right. So wherever you are, and I'm assuming you're sticking to the United States.
Yeah.
All right. So wherever you are for now, okay, she has goals. So right now, anywhere you are in the United States, if you are looking for her services, her contact information is scrolling below. And please visit her online. Her website is virtualingenuityllc.com. And like I said before, she's also on Facebook and LinkedIn. So please give her a follow. And I put a Google Map page there. So if you want to just know where she is, you can visit her Google Map page. And one last thing before I take over, Claudine wants me to mention that she is the winner of the Women's Net Business Specific Grant in the category of Business Support Services. She won that award this past June. So congratulations to her. And as part of her prize for winning, she was interviewed on the Women's Net YouTube page. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a little bit of that interview. All right, fabulous. I'm going to play a little bit of that interview, which you can see on your own, and I will also provide the link to this interview in the description. So, did I turn it off? I did. Okay, so here we go.
Tell us a little bit about your business and what you're doing.
I would love to, Jamali. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, I'd like to thank Women's Net for recognizing Virtual Ingenuity LLC as a 2021 Distinguished Business. It's such an honor to receive this recognition, and I will certainly do my best to uphold the mission and principles of Women's Net and the Amber Grant. A little bit about Virtual Ingenuity. We are a business support company focused on helping businesses to improve efficiency, effectiveness, and profits. And my skill and talents are working with various organizations across industries to improve their operations and marketing in order to reduce inequalities and health outcomes. We provide optimized strategic planning using workflow systems to boost client productivity and growth as a business.
All right, I'm going to pause right there. All right, put your contact info up. All right, so Claudine, thank you so much for joining us today on Hot Topics. And don't forget to check out her website to the viewers. Don't forget to check out our website and follow her on Facebook and LinkedIn, right? And you could also check out her Google Maps page. She's not taking any in-person clients, so don't just show up. But just if you want to just know where she is or you want to learn more about her, you can see her on Google Maps as well. So Claudine, thank you for joining us today. And I'm going to put you backstage. And you guys, it is just you and me now. So let me put up my own contact information. So we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to learn more about A Step Ahead Tutoring Services, if you want to learn more about our services, our workshops, the things that we have to offer, our contact information is scrolling below. You can visit our website at www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. You could also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and we're also on YouTube, of course, which is where you'll be watching this video. So definitely give us a follow. We'll definitely appreciate the support. So we are also collecting donations to our crowdfunding campaign on ifundwomen.com. And I, Gabrielle Crichlow, I'm asking for your support. So I'm going to play a little video just to describe a little bit more about that.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider donating to our crowdfunding campaign. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. We're a for-profit company. Your donation may not be tax-deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
All right, and that is it for our show. Please donate to that crowdfunding campaign. The link was provided to you in the video, but I will also provide the link to you in the description. So please donate. No amount is too small. Every dollar will be appreciated. And that is it for Hot Topics today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please tune in next time. Oh, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell us what you thought about this episode. Leave a note in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time. Signing off. Bye.